Hey guys, Bill the Kansas Flamingo Chef, and I'm opening my refrigerator and getting out one of my favorite condiments. This, in this jar, oh, so good. That is pickled eggplant. Now, I've got one more jar in here, and generally I leave it sitting out when I'm using it because it holds for a couple of weeks on the shelf, but I can keep it in the refrigerator. Keep it for quite a while. Why am I telling you this? Because I'm going to teach you how to make it. And if you've never had it, man, you're missing out on one of the greatest things. So good. It's great on sandwiches. Fantastic on salads. It's great by itself. It's an Italian tradition. I'll show you how to do it. Oh, by the way, it takes 24 hours plus. If you've never used them before or never bought one, this is an eggplant. Now, to fill one of those mason jars like I showed you, takes 2 of these when it's all said and done. I'm going to make 2 jars, so simple math, I've got 4 eggplant. The first thing you're going to need, other than the eggplant, is something to put them in, because we're going to cut all this outside off of them. And honestly, the easiest way to do it is just take a knife and simply run down the sides like this until you can peel them clean. If you'd rather try to peel them with a traditional peeler, be my guest, but it's going to take a lot of work because this is some thick, hard stuff, and you've got to get past that green point into the white of it. So the first thing to do is I got to peel these, and we're going to slice them into thin strips. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me peel them. All right, so the next part is we need to slice these out. Now I'm going to work just with one so you can see how to do it, and then we'll go from there. Get these others out of my way for a moment. So the first thing you want to do is cut this crown off. And I'm going to go ahead and just slice a little bit of that out. This can go to the side. And then I'm going to cut the base off as well. All right, so we're going to make strips. I want to show you what the strips are going to look like. Okay, and you can cut them pretty thin. But it's basically like you're making French fries out of this entire thing. So the way I do it is I cut it in half, long ways. And then I work half at a time. I just cut these sections like so. And I make a little stack. And then I cut the sections into slices, French fries, if you will. I like them fairly thin. If they're too thick, they just don't turn out as well. But you don't want them paper thin either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this entire eggplant up into slices like you just saw, and then we'll continue from there. Well, there's the last of it cut up. And for you wise guys out there that are thinking to yourself, well, I'll just use a potato press and cut these just like I do French fries. Hey, you go right ahead and try. This stuff is so soft that all you'll get is mush. And then it just won't be the same. That's 4 eggplant cut up, obviously minus the very bottoms and the tops and the outsides. Now, we're going to put a bunch of salt in there. I prefer to use really fine salt, like a fine sea salt. And the reason is because what's going to happen over the next 12 hours is the salt is going to break this stuff down. And as it does, it's going to reduce to about 25% of its volume. And there's going to be a bunch of liquid. Well, that won't happen. You won't have that chemical reaction if the salt can't get into the eggplant. So there's no right amount here. More is better. I'm just going to pretty much cover this with some salt. And then I'm going to get my hands dirty. That's why I put the gloves on. And lightly mix this together. Keep in mind, it's brittle, so if you want nice looking strips, you got to try to be gentle with it. once you get that mixed up pretty well, I go ahead and put a little more salt on the top and mix it again. Now, I'm going to cover this, and it's going to sit there for 12 hours. You don't want to refrigerate this. The reaction needs to occur. So right now it's just after 8 p.m. So I'll see you after 8 a.m. We'll do the next step. Hey, good morning. It's time for part 2. So this has been sitting for just about 8 hours. When you open it up, you can see it is greatly reduced, and it is sitting in a lot of liquid. So what we're going to do is, I've got a colander sitting here in the sink, and I'm just going to turn the whole thing into the colander and let all that liquid come out. And then we're going to do something that seems a little weird, but we've got to just lightly squeeze all of this and put it back in the bowl. Trying to get as much of that liquid off as possible, mainly because it's full of salt. And you can see there's a huge difference in volume. This was filled all the way to the top. So now, grab some white distilled vinegar and pour just enough of it in there that it sits right about the level of the eggplant. Now we're going to put the top back on it, and it's going to rest for another 12 hours, and I'll see you tonight. Hi guys, it's been another 12 hours. It's time to finish this up. For this part of the project, you're going to need a few things. I highly recommend a pair of gloves because it gets messy. A colander, once again. A couple of canning jars ready to go. Olive oil. Garlic. If you want to use fresh garlic, that's fine. I like minced garlic because it's faster. And oregano. So what we're going to do is, once we're gloved up here, we're going to dump the vinegar and the asparagus into the colander. So you can see what it looks like now, right? And there's still vinegar floating around there. We're going to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is dump this all in here once again. Now I'm not going to rinse this because it's okay to have a little residue from the vinegar in there. But just like we did with the salt, we're going to take this and press this stuff again and get as much of the liquid out of there as possible. This time you really want to squeeze it as best you can, and then drop those to the side. Once you get all of that wrung out, then we're going to season it, oil it, and jar it. Well, there it is, all wrung out 24 hours later. Hard to believe this bowl was completely full of eggplant. Now we're going to finish it. Now I'm going to rinse my hands off, get as much of the vinegar off of my gloves as possible. You can put on new gloves, that'd be fine too. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put in some oregano, about a tablespoon. We're going to put in some garlic, and you can put as much garlic as your little heart desires, depending on your taste buds. I'm going to put in about 2 to 3 big, probably 2 tablespoons when it's all said and done. And then, last but not least, olive oil. And just need enough olive oil to get that coated. Then we're going to mix it together. So now what you do is just stuff this into these jars. But that's what it looks like. And that's my pickled eggplant. Till next time, eat and drink fabulous. I'll see you on the next one. If you have something you'd like me to make, all you got to do is drop me a line. Bill@kansasflamingochef.com. See you soon.